very special guest with us, Michelle Bader Ebersole. She is heading very unique ministry where marginalized women, after passing their husbands, they may be living in a desperate situation, whether it is spiritual, mental, or cultural things, or whatever they need support from. The Bible talks about widows. And the church is mandated to take care of the widows and the elderly who doesn't have anybody. And Michelle was bold enough to step into this realm where many ministries are ignoring this group of people who are going through mental agonies. Many women may not be able to handle life as it is after their loss of their loved ones, their husbands. And welcome to Harvest TV, Michelle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
As I mentioned, church was asked to take care of the widows. So we cannot ignore that group of people who are going through some dramatic experiences. Some may be unexpected, some may not be, a long, drawn-out sickness or something.
Right.
Either way, they are not prepared.
Right.
Whether it is a long process or a short one, without no notice at all, losing a husband, and even if they are going through long drawn-out thing about a cancer or something like that, they were dealing with those issues,
right.
And they may not be prepared
Right.
to face the life after losing their husbands. Would you be able to address that issue that is being ignored by the church at large?
Right. Yeah. So it is hard whether you have warning or your husband's sick. Like my husband had cancer, so I had a long time, but it's still hard either way. And I found that there weren't a lot of churches that had any support groups.
So this is your own personal struggle through widowhood and going through that experience. Yes.
Yes. So I found there wasn't a lot of support in churches,
Right.
And wanting to get widows together. And also, when I say widows, I also mean widowers. Anyone who's lost a
Right.
spouse, starting to get this.
So it is not gender-based?
No,
Okay.
I have a podcast for widows, and I always say widow, and it means widower as well.
Right.
And so I wanted to bring support and bring awareness that so many churches don't help widows.
Right.
And so I'm trying to change that now.
Okay. Your husband's situation, was that a long...
Yes.
Okay.
Cancer.
So you had to deal with those issues.
Yes.
And may not be prepared to
Yes.
face the...
Yes.
What happened afterwards?
I was really lost.
Right.
I was a 41-year-old widow with 3 teenagers.
Right.
And
The teenagers itself is a handful for
yes,
you.
and then I had 3 of them,
Right.
and I thankfully had great family and friends that came around.
So
me.
they were supportive.
Yes, very, very supportive. I dove into healing like it was my job, went to everything I could find. It was COVID, so that was hard,
Right.
but I found a grief retreat,
Right.
and I went to that, and God really spoke to me a lot. So before Luke died, after he died, I started thinking, like, what's wrong? Am I being punished? Did I do something wrong? And in that moment at the retreat, God revealed to me, he said, I chose you. This is not a punishment. Out of all the people,
Many people blame themselves, saying, it is my fault. It is, something that I did wrong, or
right.
many times that self-blame itself is going to cause them to go to depression.
Yes.
And a lot of other troubles that is not supposed to
Right.
bring them down.
Yes.
So You said your family was supportive and uplifting. What kind of support did you receive from them?
Yeah, from my family and friends, it was great. Just showing up, not asking me. The worst thing you can do is say, "Let me know if there's anything you need." Right?
Just a casual statement.
No, but my friends and family actually showed up.
Amen.
They started doing things around the
That's
house.
wonderful.
They bought me groceries. They took care of my kids.
Okay.
They cleaned my house. You know, they were there. But what is really the hardest time for a widow is 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year later, when the whole world is forgotten, or it seems like they've forgotten. That's when we need people to step up and help us. Like that is really the time that I think is the hardest.
Yeah. So the immediate needs are met, like when you have friends around, family around,
Right.
you may not feel that that grieving time or lost time, but afterwards is the
Yeah, it's harder. Yes.
yeah. Then what happened?
Well, I started diving into my healing, like I was saying, and God started healing my heart. And so I decided if I've been healed, I want to help others. And actually, the first thing I did was my podcast. I had met a widower, and we were on this Facebook group, and we were like, these people need Jesus. You know, this widow's Facebook. We got to show them like how you get through this. There's no magic grief formula.
Yeah.
I can show people tools, but it's Jesus.
Right.
So then we started, about 11 months after Luke died, we started a podcast called Widowed Too Soon. And we just started talking through all the issues that we had.
Right.
And that really propelled my healing as well. When you help others, it helps yourself. So it was a great thing for my healing. And I also wanted to get widows together. And so I started a nonprofit for widows. And so we started meeting once a month in the local area.
If I may ask you this question, the church, what did they do during this time? Did they have more understanding? Did they extend a hand for you any way possible, whether it is spiritual?
You know, in the very beginning, the pastor did visit, he did Luke's service, but there were what I wanted to find were other widows. And when I asked them about something, they said, no, but you can start one. But I was a new widow. I did not know how to start one. And so that's when this need for me grew. And church is the loneliest place when you're widowed.
Right.
Many widows turn away. I heard it's over 50% of widows turn away from church.
I never heard that.
Because
before.
we feel so it's made for families, and to be a single person suddenly alone with your kids at church, a lot of widows stop going because they just don't want to be there. You know, there's so many different experiences.
Right.
I have a lot of my widow community said I stopped going to church, or widows who decide that it's too lonely. They don't want to do it. And so there wasn't a problem with my church personally, but I wanted to find other places to connect widows.
Right.
And so that's why I started my nonprofit for widows.
So church wasn't ministering to your needs as a person, as a widow.
Yes.
And did you find anybody stepping in after you started the podcast and trying to address this issue? Did you get anybody to do a hand-holding, saying that, don't worry, there is solutions, and Christ is the ultimate solution, and help you to develop that ministry to widows?
There was one man, so I reached out to every church in my area. I didn't hear back from them. I was telling them I started this Widow Goals. This is and there was one man who really believed in it. He let me come speak at his church. He was very excited about it, and then he passed away. And I even tried to reach out to his widow, but I could never get a hold of her. So it was kind of hard that the one person who really believed in me, he's like, every church needs this. This is going to be international. This is going to be so big. And after he passed away, it was really hard. Like my one big supporter in this. But there have been people who have believed in it and have helped and have sponsored widows at our retreats and things like that. But I don't have a partnership really with any churches or anything.
So how did you be able to create a path for yourself to move forward, to to reach out to develop this idea that I can do this.
Yes.
I can minister.
Yes.
This is something God mandated. When you started talking, you said, it is God's voice
Yes.
telling you to step in. And so would you be able to go through that phase of developing that ministry areas? Maybe it is not an overnight thing.
Right.
It is a drawn out thing. Yeah. Could you be able to?
Yes.
Because after this life changing experience, people may say, I don't care. Just like you said, many people stopped going to church. But you rather change it around and said, there is positives coming out of my negative experience, my tears, my heartaches can build something that is more positive than I thought possible. Because before this, you never thought of dealing with this issue or dealing with widows at all. What is your experience going through that thing?
Well, I just felt as God was healing me, I wanted to help others. And so, it started with the podcast. I started doing social media things. And then I started hearing from widows all over the world that what I was doing was helping them, that once they found out they were not alone, they had more help. I mean, I actually had a few tell me that they were thinking of ending their life until they found my podcast. And that was enough to encourage me to keep going. And like I said, I had a co-host for about 3 years on my podcast. And when he left, I was thinking about shutting it down. And I had a vision straight from God. It was me handing megaphones to all these people. And I felt like God was saying, start interviewing. There's so many more people to tell their stories. So I turned it to an interview show. And that really helped grow things bigger. And then as far as we started doing these local events, and then we started groups all over the country. Other widows who said, I want to do what you're doing, teach me how. So I started teaching them how to have these groups. And then we're like, we need to get together. And so we started doing retreats. And so we just did one in January, and we had 58 widows come to that. And it was this absolutely amazing thing to see these brand new, we call them baby widows, under a year, who are so heartbroken. Some of them have lost children as well. They're just in these really hard positions. Come and get together and worship together and have God meet them in this dark space. Like, God loves widows. He has a very special place in his heart for widows. And to see that happening has been just beautiful.
Yeah. When I was sharing that intro, that is why I said, God, there is a mandate for the church to be a place where widows could be able to find solace, so they could be able to look forward to living their life, even though their loved ones are lost, and they could be able to. So, what is the purpose of you writing a book? We talked about podcast. What is the purpose of your book?
So, Widow Goals, Steps to Finding Peace When You Lose Your Spouse, is 30 individual goals that you could take in any order. They don't have to go in order. They're very small because when you're grieving, sometimes you can't retain a lot. You don't want to read a lot. And so there are things like have an eternal purpose, how to re-enter social spaces, solo parenting, dating again, just all kinds of different chapters. The point is that someone doesn't feel alone and they have a way to do this. And there's scripture throughout the whole thing. I weave my story in a little bit, but I want it to be mostly tools to help the widow. And so from that, I created an entire program that is being implemented in churches that has a workbook and a leader's guide, so we can help the widows who are brand new. But
so churches are coming along with this idea.
Yes, it's kind of like the Grief Share program, but for widows. And that's my goal, is to get that everywhere, to do that. And so I wrote the book. I actually started it right after Luke died. I wrote 3 chapters, put it on the shelf, and then realized about a year ago the 5-year anniversary is coming up of Luke's death. I want to do this. I want to finish it by then. So I launched it on the 5-year anniversary of his death, which was very special to me, because a lot of people don't listen to podcasts. So I thought there's a whole bunch of people that I'm not reaching because they don't listen to podcasts. So I decided to take some of those same things I talk about on the podcast
Right.
and put it into a book.
Yeah. Do you know any other places have groups getting together and being supportive to each other?
Yes, there's a group called Never Alone Widows. I know that they do that. And then we have our widow goals, Hope for Widows. There's a few of them, but there's not enough.
Okay. So those who are following you, are they coming together and forming groups
Yes.
in their local areas so that they can minister to each other
Yes, exactly.
and find resources? Is that a reality now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. That is wonderful to know that they are not alone. Being alone is itself is a curse. God never let anybody go on their own.
Right.
Rather, He wants everyone to be in His fold, in His family.
Yes.
Thank you, Michelle, for stepping in and putting this book together so people can find the support they need. Maybe some are going to be inspired to take up a new mantle in their life and say, I'm going to start something, I'm going to do something, instead of being desperate and lost.
Yes.
Thank you for being an inspiration, and it is my prayer that this book is going to minister to many people, because when you start reading the book of Revelation, it says write. So thank you for writing this book so people can find it and read it and be encouraged. Do you know where people can find a copy of this book?
Yes, it's on Amazon, and if you go to widowgoals.org, it has information about all three of the books and my podcasts and the groups. Everything is there.
Okay. So it is a hard copy alone, or
No, Kindle, audiobook, all of it.
Oh, okay. All right. So if you are going through life's unexpected things that happen to you, and you may be blaming yourself, you may be going through a desperate time where you couldn't be able to find any help, any support at all, listen to this lady who went through it all and turn her life experience to help others. Would you be able to give that person who's going through the same experiences you may be gone and tell them there is hope? Last word.
Let yourself feel it. What we feel, God can heal. So you really need to not hold back those tears. Don't be afraid to cry anywhere, anytime, any place, and give it to God. And I want to promise you, it's not always going to hurt as bad as it does today.
Amen. I hope that her experience is going to minister to you. There is a life ahead of you until the time God set for you to leave this earth or the coming of the Lord. So we need to live until that. So try to find inspiration, whether it is through her podcast or through her book or other things that you could be able to do to make a difference in this dark and dying world. May the Lord bless you. Thank you, Michelle, for taking some time and sharing your experience with us.
Thank you.
God bless you.